I don't think you understood me. We don't want to fight a war against those murder hornets. We want to be left in peace. Leave here, now, and take all of the danger you bring us with you.
This is gonna be bad.
Y'all, get to the underground buses. They found us. The murder hornets are coming. Stop.
I've been absolutely terrified every single day since you've been gone.
I don't need Calcine to rapid evolve me, and I don't need Salamandroid's help. I can squash this freak by myself. But if you need me, just call for me, I'll be there. Just say, you're frog.
This guy and I mean it. I think maybe I was having so much fun being your friend I forgot about him.
I don't kill people, but I'll kill every last one of you parasites.
Please, God. Please pull us through this. God, please save us.
Cyberfrog Rekt Planet, the second chapter in the renewed Cyberfrog series from former Marvel and DC artist Ethan Van Sciver, picks up where the first chapter, Bloodhoney, left off. After spending years in suspended hibernation to recover from injuries sustained by fighting the alien horde that has invaded Earth, Cyberfrog awakens to a different world. The Vespers, as the aliens are known, have conquered the planet and essentially exterminated most of humanity. In his quest to fight the invaders, Cyberfrog eventually runs into his old friend Heather Swain and her daughter Lily, who have managed to survive alongside a small community of people who have endured the destruction of their civilization. Having lost his brother Salamandroid and his mother Calcine, he finds himself an outsider with no plan on how to defeat his enemy. Navigating the social dynamics of the commune Heather is part of, Cyberfrog quickly starts to butt heads with the leader of the group, Colin, who feels the amphibian brings more dangers than positives. While Cyberfrog wants to fight back against the infestation of alien insects, Colin is focused on avoiding them and keeping everyone alive by hiding, foraging, and following a set of survival rules. Throughout the issue, we see Colin's menacing attempts to push him out of the village and manipulate the circumstances at hand. The story puts a lot of focus on Heather Swain and her current state of exasperation, as surviving for years without Cyberfrog has been a burden on the young Heather. She takes center stage in the emotional aspect of this book, as she not only has to look out for herself, but now also has to do what it takes to keep her daughter alive. Lily, Heather's daughter, and Cyberfrog start to create a bond with one another, and he in fact begins to fill the void of a surrogate father figure, a position left vacant after Lily's dad seems to have disappeared. Rekt Planet uses this dynamic to explore the aspects of humanity in a post-apocalyptic world. Left to her own accord, Lily likely would grow up to be a hardened, cold survivor stripped of her childhood innocence. Cyberfrog takes it upon himself to help her discover fun once again, as he feels that while he may not be able to save the planet, perhaps he can at least save one little girl by being the light in an otherwise dark existence. He also finds himself facing off against the Vespers, along with other threats, serving as a protector to the community. However, this is a perspective not shared by everyone in the village. Rekt Planet shows Cyberfrog's fighting ability, as he is considerably much more effective and offensive in this installment versus the first one. You may recall that in Bloodhoney, he only has a few panels of fighting before the swarm of Vespers defeats him. This new chapter shows him as he takes on Vespers both in single combat, as well as doing his best to fend off a vicious group of attacking Vesper soldiers. A few other interesting characters also make an appearance, to include the strange and creepy Anne, whose witchcraft powers are leveraged to manipulate people on the behest of Colin. Rekt Planet has many moments of action, but also takes time to explore the menacing nature of people trying to hold on to power, as well as taking a deep look into the fears and horrors which surround the survivors on a daily basis. Although the survivors do their best to establish a semi-normal life, one only has to look up at the skies and be reminded that their entire existence is on the brink of being exterminated. Van Sciver implies that these people may have found a temporary relief from the impending planetary doom, but their current way of living is by no means a long-term solution, and in fact the Vespers may have only been allowing them to think that they can hide from the clutches of their insectoid overlords. The end of Rekt Planet does end with a cliffhanger, as well as a pleasant surprise. The final pages of the book go through a full spectrum of emotions, as the last few panels are filled with horror, despair, anguish, and the final moment of hope. Readers will be left with a sense of both satisfaction and also incompleteness that can only be filled by reading the upcoming Cyberfrog books. Clearly, the strongest aspect of this book is the incredible artwork. A ferociously detailed penciler and inker, Ethan Van Sciver creates a beautifully illustrated story worth looking at over and over again to appreciate the fine intricacies of his work. Furthermore, Ethan's vast experience in his craft can be seen in how he portrays characters in a way that captures their emotions without necessarily having to resort to big, obvious movements. For instance, in this 4-panel sequence, the subtle changes of Heather's expression shows her fear and concern over the distant conversation she observes. Such minute work comes from hours upon hours of sequential drawing experience, and it is this aspect of character acting that is often missing from many of today's modern comic book artists. Adding to the line work, an incredible job is done by Cyberfrog residential colorist Kyle Ritter. His use of tones, highlights, and effects truly brings the book to life and cements the series as one of the best looking books to come to the market in the past decade. The duo of Van Sciver and Ritter is quickly turning into a legendary synergy of artistic creation. Upon purchasing Cyberfrog Rekt Planet, one does get a lot of different extras in addition to the book itself. There are additionally 2 books that come with the initial purchase, adding a bit of nuance and additional insight to the overall storyline. Furthermore, a PVC plastic action figure is included, something that by itself could possibly be priced at a toy store at or above the initial cost of the book if bought through the Indiegogo campaign. Van Sciver also throws in a few extras in addition to these, such as stickers and a keychain as well. As a follow-up to Bloodhoney, Rekt Planet can be considered a major success. While the first chapter raised $1.3 million through crowdfunding, Rekt Planet upped the ante by raising $1.5 million. Production of the book was, however, hampered by significant delays, causing the creator to miss his promised fulfillment deadline of May 2021 by almost 2 years. Although reviews of the book have been generally positive, many were disappointed with delays, especially as the campaign itself emphasized timeliness on its campaign page. As stated earlier, Rekt Planet and Bloodhoney essentially represent the resurgence of the Cyberfrog IP, as Van Sciver had previously sold his Cyberfrog comics under the publication of Hall of Heroes and later Harris Comics. After moving on to more mainstream comic book work at DC Comics and Marvel, the character was abandoned as he focused on his professional work, including New X-Men and Green Lantern. After a controversial separation from DC, he then would strike out on his own under the guise of comicsgate, a movement of independent comic book creators dissatisfied with the current state of the comic industry. It is here where he would revitalize the character in a more modern, refined approach, which included updating his story arc to involve more epic, momentous, and earth-shattering storylines, which was a far cry from the previously street-level oriented Cyberfrog of the 1990s. Overall, Cyberfrog Rekt Planet is an action-packed, well-illustrated tale balanced out with quiet moments of introspection, really bringing together a dynamic blend of storytelling. That said, this being the second chapter of a 4-story arc, Ethan Van Sciver has taken 5 years to tell this tale so far. This begs the question, will the next 2 installments take just as long? If so, having fans wait a decade to experience the full story may be asking a lot from even the most dedicated of fan bases. After all, the first 2 books, while entertaining, are not standalone chapters and instead part of an episodic format. While anticipation of a conclusion is indeed a wonderful thing to have, this can be a bit of a stretch. However, waiting times aside, Rekt Planet simply delivers. I would highly recommend anyone interested in a fast-paced, character-driven comic book pick up a copy, if only for the artwork alone. You can't go wrong with attaining a copy of this book, and Ethan does sell the original bloodhoney books via his eBay store for those who might be interested in reading the full storyline. I do look forward to the next installment in the Cyberfrog story. Currently, this is labeled as Dark Harvest, and expect that it will too bring beautiful illustrations, colors, and solid storytelling. For those interested, Ethan has mentioned he plans a midsummer launch on Indiegogo.com, so please keep an eye out for this.